Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and check out this new painting from Masterworks. I'm going to put the link in the top of the description because Masterworks is one of my sponsors, and I do buy their paintings myself because they've figured out a way to securitize paintings so that you and I, average Joes out here, can buy into paintings that might be a $30 million painting. They go out, they buy it, and then they turn it into $20 shares with a minimum investment of $500. And all of a sudden you can invest in a vehicle that runs in a different direction than a lot of investments, like an S&P 500. And they just added this George Condo painting, Transparent Figures. This is kind of interesting because it's kind of like looking at a cloud. You can kind of see all kinds of different things in this painting. I was kind of staring at it. It looks like, well, actually now that I look at it, it looks like he's got, in several places, he's got pairs of boobs. No offense out there if kids listening. But anyway, it's kind of like looking at a Hooters painting in parts. All right, moving along. So John Deaton was on this Law and Legitimacy podcast, okay? Now, this guy right here is a lawyer. He's an attorney, and he runs it, and I'm drawing a blank on his name. But he goes on a rant. He's a holder of XRP, but this guy's not somebody that's like real plugged in to the crypto markets. But listen, because where he's coming from is where everybody should be coming from, especially Americans. Everybody should be outraged at why this circus, this SEC circus, is continued to be allowed. Remember, not one congressman, not one congresswoman has called for, I don't care who's got power, Warren Davidson, I don't care if you got power or not power. Step to the plate, grow a set, and call for an investigation. That will have an impact. Not one from either side of the aisle has called for an investigation of these people. Listen to what he says, and you tell me why all of us shouldn't be outraged for the sake of our country and our children, even if you're not in the United States of America. What these people are doing to this country is shameful. It's disgusting.
You know, and so XRP looked to me to be the future in ways that I don't fully understand. I'll be honest with you, John. So I knew a little bit about it, but not enough. And I had no idea the SEC was out there with its teeth out, looking to take a piece out of Ripple. And what I've come to understand, or XRP, has outraged me, that an SEC official declared that Ripple was a security at or about the time that he had a relationship with an entity that would benefit from its regulatory status with respect to, in other words, and Ripple's value went down because it's now regulated, you know, it's got regulators to deal with. But a regulator declared it to be a security, left the SEC, and went to profit by a non-regulated cryptocurrency. And my teeth fall out when I hear this. I don't understand how this was permitted to happen, why a court isn't looking at it, why Congress isn't all over it, and why the SEC in shame has not dropped the lawsuit against Ripple out of concern for its perception to be a neutral and detached umpire in the field of securities regulation. That's about all I know.
Now, I don't think that, even though that's what our emotions think, I don't think that at this point we want the SEC to drop the lawsuit now that it's been initiated, because now you're in a situation, if they drop the lawsuit, we still have the same problem, which is no clarity. And so now, but Gary could very easily, what they could do, I mean, I'm no attorney, but there's no reason on the planet that they couldn't agree to a settlement, get out of this thing, and give XRP a designation. They could do that, the way I understand it. But no question, this is a sham. It's shameful. It's disgusting. These people ought to be ashamed of themselves. Now check this out. I don't know. I caught this in this little thread that started with CoinFlex. Then Cowboy Crypto was showing some of the investors. And then Crypto Well says, DCG equals Rothschilds. Now that one is a new one. I just thought it was interesting, thought I'd pass it along. I don't know. Now, here, this was put out by CoinDesk today from about Gary Gensler. Some, like Bitcoin, are a commodity, and that was the SEC chair. So now you have two SEC, think about this. You got two SEC chairmen. You got all these big money people that are Bitcoin, Bitcoin, Bitcoin. You got this huge Bitcoin Miami conference every year. And we're supposed to believe that all these people, all these sophisticated people, all these people with reputations on the line, you and I are supposed to believe that all these regulators are comfortable with an anonymous Satoshi Nakamoto. It could be a terrorist group, it could be North Korea, it could be a group of hackers that have bad intentions, that want to tank the financial markets but wait until there's trillions in it. You're telling me that these regulators and all these influential people would prop up Bitcoin like this if they didn't know what or who Satoshi Nakamoto is? Folks, my igloo in South Georgia is still for sale. I don't know if Gary Gensler would call it a commodity because it melts in 24 hours. I don't know what it would be, a security, commodity, or whatever. But I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that it's for sale. My igloo in South Georgia in 90 to 100 degree weather. Okay, if you believe that they didn't and don't know who or what, I would say what Satoshi or what group Satoshi Nakamoto is. It's all one big farce. Write it down, folks. This is an adult talking to you. If I was 18, I'd be like, yeah, Satoshi Nakamoto, we're free, libertarians. When I first started this journey, I bought into all that, but no. I've been around a little while now, folks. That is not what this is. That's what they want you to believe this is. Breaking Three Arrows Capital has filed for Chapter 15 bankruptcy. I've heard of Chapter 11 and I've heard of Chapter 13. Chapter 15 is a new one to me, but I'm sure it works. Okay, check this out. Wheezy has been putting out some great clips. This is an SEC enforcement guy who is Robert Cohen, and he's responding to on the question of the implications if the SEC were to lose the Ripple case. You can tell there's a little bit of arrogance in this clip.
Okay, well then let me take the opportunity to answer one of the questions from the audience. So a question from the audience we got was on this topic. What are the implications once the outcome of Ripple XRP is decided? So the way I would comment on that is when I was supervising the group, we were very careful about what cases we litigated, because in such a new area, one bad decision could really have a programmatic impact. And there was one case, it was a small fraud case, where the commission initially lost the motion for preliminary injunction. And it was in, Law 360 and all the industry publications the next day. SEC's losing. And, it was a surprise. It was a very straightforward case. We thought it was somebody who made up a fake blockchain regulator called the Blockchain Exchange Commission, and put the SEC's address as the address for this fake regulator. But it was all over the news that the SEC's losing. Well, a motion for reconsideration was filed and the judge reversed the decision. And that got, not as much news as the initial decision got, but it kept the track record clean. So on the question of the implications of Ripple XRP, on the one hand, it's only one case, it's only one judge, it's district court. But for such a new innovative area where people are following, as Christy went through those decisions, people are reading every line of every decision. There's a lot on the line, I think. There's a lot on the line for the program. If the commission loses a big case on a significant legal issue, it's not necessarily binding. It's one district court, unless it gets appealed. But to lose a prominent case, I think, has the potential to have a significant impact on the program.
Well, there's two things to get out of that. Go ahead and prepare for it, folks. Prepare for it. I'll write that on the thumbnail. Prepare for it. Okay? This is going. Write it down. This, when this case is over, and I'm sure this would be in the negotiations if they went the settlement route. One way or another, the SEC and Gary Gensler's way too arrogant. We know that by now. One way or another, he's going to proclaim this to be a victory, and that may be, he may get the record settlement. Ripple may agree to give him the record settlement. You give us clarity, we'll give you the record settlement. It might be $1 over the current record settlement, because I'm sure the SEC has lost that much leverage in this process. So that would be Brad Garlinghouse and Ripple and them being nice. But make no mistake, they will make sure this is structured so that the SEC can proclaim a victory, whether it's a victory or not, okay? All right, moving along. So this is interesting right here from Wheezy. Something, I've said this for 4 years, folks. All the lawsuits against Ripple never made any sense, okay? This one right here was the Ryan Coffey lawsuit, and now he's showing all these. Ryan Coffey was the guy that I think he lost a few $100 in his investment in XRP, and then he filed a lawsuit against Ripple saying that it was a security and And they're showing all that right here. It says, after Ripple's suit, Ryan Coffey soon started working for AeroPay, then Sila, now WorldPay. Amazingly, all are payments companies, and Sila uses distributed ledger technology. Probably a coincidence. And then there's this from Wheezy. Check this out. This is interesting. This is the SEC letting you know that there's more lawsuits coming.
On the crypto side, yeah, the addition of about 20 people up to 50 total is a very significant addition of resources. Matt, you read the release like a hawk. It does mention trial counsel, and that is a significant development. I view that as significant. I'm sure in your prior experience you recognize the significance of that. And I agree that there are questions in the space that likely will litigate. So I think it wouldn't be surprising to anyone who's been following the cases that there will likely be litigated cases. And I think in our view, that's good. That's, there will be questions that may be so important to certain projects that we'll let a judge weigh in.
Okay, so there's that. Then Digital Perspectives, Brad Combs picked up on this, okay? Now, you might remember, and I know Brad Combs has talked about it a lot, and Gary Gensler's brought it up before, the Reves test, which is the test that makes something a note, because there's a lot of people, including myself, that think there's that XRP could become the equivalent of like a bond, but be like a note, okay? And the Reves test determines that. Well, this is Brad Garlinghouse's attorney, Matthew Solomon, and he's on the stage with, I think, some SEC guys. Listen to what he says.
I think I looked yesterday, what's happened with all that. There may have been some extensions. I don't think we have clarity on that. Finding something, it's not a finding that's legally binding. This is the way that these settlements are styled. But the commission found that this lending product was a equity security, an investment contract, but also that it constituted a note under the Reves test. And they set that out, the commission set that out in the settlement order. This is a way, I guess, of giving some kind of guidance through this settled order of how expansive the commission believes the Reves test is in relation to lending products, not just equity security, but also, in their view, a debt security. Others are going to follow suit because clearly there must be other inquiries going on of similar products, since, again, BlockFi is not the only one out there like this. So that's my perspective on it. I don't know if others have views, because I do think this is an effort. I don't know, Steve, if you can talk any more about it, probably not, but to give some information to the marketplace. And those are my personal views about what the commission's trying to do. But if you can elaborate on that for us, that'd be great.
Yeah, I can't elaborate in any way that you would enjoy, I don't think. But I don't disagree, however, with your read of the order, which does, to me, make some significant findings regarding the application of Reves and the note analysis to lending products, as well as noting that these types of pooled crypto can require registration under the Investment Company Act. Those seem, to me, just based on the reading of the public document and the findings, to be pretty significant.
And like Matt said, we'll have to wait and see whether they can pull off the registration, because I think we all have experienced dealing with trying to register anything with the SEC. It's not always an easy path. It'll be significant development, and it'll be a path that others might follow. We're going to have to see. But what I also was significant that of course that the Reves test was It's been talked about in the crypto space, but I don't think it had been used in an SEC case until BlockFi.
DeFi money market, which was the smaller DeFi money market, was
Okay.
the smaller one, but shortly before, also in the last year.
So, you know, we all learned Howie. Now we got to go learn Reves. So I guess that's part of the homework now. Thank you, SEC.
While you're on the topic, one of the key components of that analysis is whether there's an alternative regulatory scheme that provides protection to the participants or investors. And that's a significant component in this space, especially where things are at in terms of, activities to protect investors in this space by other regulators. So I just, not that I know where that's heading or anything, I just flag that as one of the key elements.
No, I think that's right. It's kind of a broad concept, right? Whether there's some other regulatory regime, one would query whether you need it if you have sophisticated buyers, sellers who are willingly, participating in a new type of asset market. But I think clearly the SEC sees it as its role to ask that question under that test, and I'm sure we're going to hear that talked about more.
That is going to be interesting to see where all this goes, folks. Supreme Court's wrecking ball could impact SEC authority. They're referring to that EPA case in this, and there's a short section where they talk about Ripple and XRP in here, if I can find it. Here it is. They are looking ahead to the lawsuit brought by the Securities Exchange Commission against Ripple for failing to register the company's sale of XRP as a security, and they are all asking the same question: will the SEC get to decide the future of finance? Some are not so sure. So we'll see. Now, this was an interesting tweet right here. Mary C. Hall is blockchain CBDC product marketing at Ripple. Check this out. Thank Ripple for a fantastic visit to New York City to meet the Ripple Rockstar CBDC team in person. Ripple CBDC team. That has a great ring to it. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that there is a Ripple Rockstar CBDC team in New York.